Hey, what's going on, guys? So I'm back with another video. It's your girl Chanel. I thought that I'd quickly sit down and kind of talk to you guys about how it was like trying to conceive after having in the Mirena for 6 years. So if you guys are old G and you guys used to follow me way back when, I kind of did a series where I talked about having the Mirena in, which is the IUD, a form of birth control, and the side effects that I was experiencing at the time. And it was not pleasant. However, I kind of touched about, and that video itself has a lot of views. It's probably one of my videos that has a lot of views, and a lot of people up to this day are still writing me, and that was literally like 5-6 years ago. So I just thought that I would sit down and tell you guys what it's like trying to conceive. Now, for those of you guys who already know Malachi, my son, he's 9 years old, and I put in the Mirena right after I had him. Or even, no, I'm lying. I was using the pull-out method, okay? And then as the years went by, I think when Malachi turned 3, I was in a new relationship with a guy that I featured him on this channel, and I was just not trying to be pregnant, have a baby at all. That was like the first thing that was from my mind. So I decided to get the Mirena in, which is the IUD. And I had that IUD in for 5 years. Well, technically 6. So I kept in the Mirena for 5 years. It lasts up to 5 years. The hormone stays in your system for that long. And I had mine in for 5 years. Once I got to that 5-year point, which was in October, I decided to take out my Mirena. And then I was like, okay, I'm not ready. I'm still, business is going well. I'm not really interested in having a child right now. So I went ahead and I put the Mirena back in for a year plus. Last year, August, I decided to remove my Mirena. And I was like, you know what? I'm in a healthy relationship. I'm in a good relationship. You know, I'm ready. Malachi is 9 years old. I'm 33. It's time for me to start to think about what I want to do. I don't want to have children late, but I know I definitely want more kids. Plus, Malachi's 9. He's been inquiring about a sibling. He's wanted a sibling for a very long time, but I was just like, okay. So I went to my doctor's. My first step was to go to my doctor's, and I sat down with her and I told her, you know, I'm thinking about extending the family now. I have this IUD in. I want to get it removed. What are my steps? We talked about it. She sat down. She told me that I could remove my Mirena. She told me that I should give myself 6 months to 1 year. What's wrong? Huh? Baby's right here. Are you okay? Okay. So she told me that I should give myself 6 months to 1 year, you know, because sometimes when you take the Mirena out, your body needs to start to regulate back normal how it was before, because you've had this IUD in for so long. So sometimes your body is out of whack. But I should give myself maybe a couple periods just to see. Don't get discouraged if it doesn't happen within the first 6 months to a year. If it doesn't happen within a year, and then I should come back and they'll start doing some testing. But for most women, it happens within that time. So I was like, okay, I've planned this. Like, so me and my girlfriends have talked about this, and I'm the one out of the bunch of the group. When I say something, that's what it means. So I said, I've always had in my mind, okay, in August, I'm like, in August, I'm going to take this out. And that was last year. I'm like, I'm going to take it out. I'm like, but I hope I get pregnant like way down the line, like closer to the end of the year, so that I could have my baby. I thought that I'd have my baby like maybe November, December, like it's coming up now. Girl, no. So I took out the Mirena, which was kind of a little painful. Ugh, it's a very uncomfortable situation. But I took out the Mirena, and then that was in August, and then I had my first period in September. And honestly, I was a bit disappointed when I got my period. I was like, I felt, even though I knew that I had to wait and I knew that I was told 6 months to a year, wanting to start a family and like being ready to conceive, and I started like Googling and looking up stuff. We got into the habit. Like, we were really happy about gonna start a family, and I got into the habit of that. So I was like Googling, and I was excited and all that stuff. And when I got my period that first month, I'm like, okay. I was a little sad, but I'm like, okay, I got my period. At least I know my cycle's regulating. Because for me, when I had the IUD in, for some women, it changes their cycle. I never have a problem with my cycle. My cycle is on the date, on the time when it's supposed to come. So if I did not get my cycle, then I already knew. What? I already knew that something... What is it? I already knew that something was up. Okay, hold on, guys. Okay, Mr. Man doesn't want to sit down no more. You don't want to sit down no more? Okay, so like I was saying, I already knew that something was up. So I got my period, like I said, I got my period on the date. One thing I did notice when I had the Mirena in is that I went from a 28-day cycle, oh, a fly. I went from a 28-day cycle to a 21-day cycle. And that was just consistent. Some women, they don't get their period at all. Some women, they have very light spotting. Some women have very heavy spotting. My period would be on the every 21 days, and I would get my period for 5 to 7 days. Now, when I took out the Mirena, my first period, my period only lasted 3 days. Now, my cycle right now is 3 to 4 days, and I'm back at a 28-day cycle. So that's how my menstrual cycle is currently at the moment, and that's how it's been. So once I took it out, like I said, what my doctor told me, then I actively started trying. For me, I got pregnant that second month. So September I got my period. October I conceived with my son. So for me, it wasn't a very long process, but it doesn't mean that because I conceived quickly, that means it's going to be for everyone. I always say to people who have the Mirena, because I get a lot of questions, if you are trying to have a child and trying to conceive after a long period of time, just give your body some time. Give your body some time to start regulating back to how it was and seeing. And then after you tried all that, if you don't conceive within that year, then you could start going back to the doctor and seeing, if there's any tests that you could do, and maybe going on birth control. Sometimes you need to go on birth control just to regulate your period, and then that helps. So that was my story. I conceived, like I said, I had my Mirena in for 6 years, and I conceived pretty much right away. However, I'm very fertile. That was the reason why I put in the Mirena in the first place. So I was just like, girl, no, I'm not trying to have a kid with this guy. So that was like one of the reasons. I wasn't ready. Like, I had a very traumatic experience with my son's father. And we'll talk about that too. But I just was not ready to have an next child. You know what I mean? Even though I was so excited to have Malachi, and Malachi was planned, but sometimes you plan things and then things don't work out the way you want them to work out. And it was just traumatizing for me. So this was a no kid zone. Okay. But I'm happy that I have my baby boy now. And now that I've already, well, my son's 3 months now, and I've already had my period. I got my period literally after that. When was it? I would say at that 6-week mark. And I was breastfeeding. I still am breastfeeding, but I'm doing formula and breastfeeding. And I got my period after 6 weeks, after postpartum. So what do after you have a baby? What's the method? I put back in my IUD again. So that IUD just works for me. Even though there were a lot of side effects to it, like I felt like I was moody sometimes. I felt like I gained weight. I didn't feel it myself at first, but I guess my body adjusted to it because I had to weigh the pros and the cons. The Mirena, birth control, which I hated taking those little pills, and that's what I used to do when I was younger. I used to take those little pills, 28-day pills. You know the ones I'm talking about, the green, and then when it's your period, your menstrual cycle, you have the little pink ones. I hated those pills. I hated those pills. So the Mirena and there's a patch, but I didn't like that. So the better method for me was just taking the Mirena, getting the IUD in. But do your research, see what works for you. I've had people that taken it. I've had people that didn't like it, they got it removed. I've had people get pregnant on it. My best friend, she got pregnant on it with hers. But I don't know. You just gotta weigh the pros and the cons. For me, it was a good product. It worked for me, and it served the purpose what it needed to serve. So I just want to quickly come to you guys and talk to you guys about that a little bit, and just share with you guys my experience with the IUD and how it is and how it was trying to conceive after that. Like I said, mine was not a very long process. However, it can take 6 months to a year. You should allow your body that time to adjust back to getting its regular periods, the hormones coming out of your system, and all that stuff. So that's my story. I will be back with another video sometime, maybe this week. I'll drop one maybe this week. And I'll see you guys later. Okay? Bye, guys.